As you can see, it's kind of enveloped by the bushes and field that it's sitting in. I really like the Aerostars. I had one growing up when I was a kid, and they were very reliable vans. They have the 3-liter V6 in them, and they are very, very good, desirable engines from what I've been told. We're going to see if we can somehow pop the hood to get a battery in it to check the mileage. Overall, from what I saw before, the body and the underneath almost looked completely rust-free, but we're going to jack that up to look even further before to see if I'm even interested in fully buying this and restoring it. But I've always had a soft spot for the Ford Aerostars and the Ford vans, so this is actually the same color as one of the old E150s I had before the camshaft basically decided to explode. We'll keep you guys updated. We're gonna get right into this and see what's going on with it.
All right, so we got the hood popped and we got the edge of the airbox popped off, and I lost skin on my knuckles. Besides that, we haven't
seen anything in the airbox.
Yeah, we haven't seen what's in there yet.
Oh, look.
That looks nice and healthy. Once again, nice and tasty.
Gotta love those mice. I guess we can pull this out for now.
I wonder, hey, are there clips in the back that we can just pop off?
Maybe. No, it's 2 screws like the Lincoln had. Ouch! Sharp pieces of something in there. Maybe the mice were doing drugs.
Likely.
Look, it's like these spiked weed things.
Now I'm inhaling them. Alright, so after stomping our way back through the brush here, we got to the Aerostar. Okay, that hit me in the face. Alright. See what we got. He's gonna hook up the battery. Alright, we're gonna see if we can get power to check the mileage on it. Because it is a digital odometer, unfortunately. Dang, the headliner's even intact. Holy frick. Oh, there we go. I turned the key for the 7th time. Holy frick, guys! Look at that! 79,000 miles.
Seriously?
That's what it says, 79,900 miles.
No wonder it's in such good condition.
Yeah, holy frick, 79,900 miles.
Wow.
No wonder. Like, look at this thing. The freaking headliner is nice. The door panels, most of the panels are in good shape.
And if the body's good for 400 bucks.
I mean, why was it parked?
He said because of the leaking. He said that the freeze plugs were leaking.
Yeah.
But he's a crazy old man, so we're gonna find out if that was the truth.
Yeah, we'll find out eventually at some point. Guys, we just got the Aerostar jacked up sketchily, so I'm not gonna crawl under very far because it's kind of sketchy. But look at this thing. There's barely a speck of rust on this thing. I mean, the exhaust a little bit. Drive shaft is basically perfect. Ow, that hurt. But like the body, look at that crap. There's like 0 freaking rust on it. The pinch welds are perfect. This thing is freaking clean.
Alright, hopefully you guys can hear me and see me. We've just got all the brush cut out around here so that we can actually properly access it and get to what we need to work on. We're first going to get the spark plugs popped out and put some WD-40 in the cylinders because it's been over 10 years since this thing's sat and we don't want to have metal scraping on metal without any kind of lubrication. So I'll show you guys when we get everything set up here and get the spark plugs ready to get taken out. Alright, so to get to these spark plugs back here, I'm going to have to take this air hose off and this weird sheath thing because they're kind of nestled back in there. So that's going to be fun and exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off quick and try to find out how this thing comes off, and then we'll reassess this. Alright, so I got off the case and the air hose. So back in here, I don't know if you guys can see, right back in there, that wire right there, which you probably can't even see, they're going to be very hard to get to. So I guess after I do a lot of grunting and injuring myself, I'll probably get them out. and get some WD-40 sprayed in there. Jacob's working on cleaning off the absolutely disgusting slimy interior.
Can you tell which half of the steering wheel I've
scrubbed? I don't know if I can see or pick it up. This side right here is disgusting and covered in weird slime, and then this side over here is much better.
It's just legitimately goo. I don't really know how to get it off either. I'm just scrubbing it with wipes.
So I ended up being able to get one of the front plugs out here and filled up with WD-40. I can't get to the other two, or the ones on this side, because it looks like I can really only access them from underneath of the vehicle, and being as the vehicle is sitting 8 inches off the ground, and we have a jack with us, but because it's sunk down in ruts, and it's just kind of too unsafe to try to get under there even with the vehicle leaning, we're gonna see if we can just put the new battery in and try to just slow crank it to try to work some of the oil up, and hopefully not have it fire. We could probably disconnect the distributor in the back if we have to, but we're gonna try doing that first. We'll get our battery we brought with us and put that in and basically see if the fuel pump engages or what happens. So we'll touch base with you then.
So what we didn't realize is that, where's the original battery?
Right here.
Oh. The original battery is an Interstate Megatron. The one that we have for testing is an Interstate Megatron 2 battery, but the terminals are reversed, so now we're just gonna have to try to make it reach, and those terminals are nasty. Nice. I'm gonna love breathing that in. Yeah, so we're just gonna try to make the terminals reach, even though it's like reversed. So anyway, what fun. So for testing purposes, we have this very safe setup here. They barely stretch to fit on there. Terminals are the wrong way. So anyway, we got them to stretch and barely fit. Hopefully that's enough that we can do some testing.
All right, so we just got the test battery hooked up. I just kneeled in some freaking thorn bushes, so that was nice. I'm gonna try to peek under here and see if I can hear the fuel pump engage. So give me a sec, Jacob. All right, turn the key. Do it again. Huh, I'm not hearing anything. Also, it's a very quiet fuel pump. Go ahead and see if it'll crank quick, just like for a quick second.
Sure?
Yeah, just tap it. Did it click?
It clunked, or clicked.
Try it again. Oh wait, do it again. Solenoid's clicking. All right, so turn the key like you're cranking it. Okay, so we're gonna do that a few times. Just keep it turned. Really? Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna assume that there's no fuel, which is honestly better in this scenario because we're just trying to get the oil work through. So yeah, we're gonna do some process of elimination and we'll get back to you. So, Jacob went to go get started, included his house since he lives closer. I'm assuming that the fuel pump's probably out on it, but there's no inside access, so because there isn't one back here, obviously it's just a bunch of random junk from the previous owner. A lot of people were saying that they just cut a hole in the floor of their car and just put Carvac over it to access the fuel pump, but I'm looking at it under here and it's plastic right here. It's right there. So I don't really see why that would be that big of an issue to drop it. We just gotta see if we can get it out of these ruts. So hopefully he gets back to the starting fluid soon and we can see if it'll run off of that. And then we'll know if if it's a fuel pump or not. So I'll touch base with you guys then. All right, Jacob just got back, so I'm going to spray some starting fluid in here and seeing if fuel is the issue right now. I'm guessing I'm having to cross the solenoid because this battery's kind of old and crappy. We don't have it hooked up properly, and we could probably stand to clean these terminals up or maybe even get new ones. So he's gonna go open the throttle body. I'll spray some of this in and then I'll cross that here in a sec. All right. Okay, we'll try that. Ready? Okay. So, fired up a starting fluid.
Sounds good.
And now, so that kind of confirms the suspicions about fuel pumping shotfish. After sitting, I don't know,
15 years.
15 years, it's probably why it's not working. So I guess we can get started in trying to drop the fuel tank and assessing that fun situation.
Because we're retarded, we didn't record us running it off a starting fluid, but we ran it for what, like 30 seconds straight off a starting fluid.
We can run it again to show you guys then.
And it ran super smooth off a starting fluid. We had to have the jumper box hooked up to
aside from the weird grinding noise.
Yeah, other than the weird grinding noise we're not going to talk about. He just added a gallon of water to it. We will add some coolant concentrate as well. We're just seeing, because we were told that this thing had bad freeze plugs. So we're gonna see where all it leaks coolant / water from. So we're gonna run it a bit longer with some water in the system just to see where we're at or what's going on there. All right, so Ben's gonna cross the solenoid because the turning the key does nothing. So.
Use the rest of the starting fluid to keep it running. See if we can get any of that water pumped through that we just put in. That's all she wrote.
A little dramatic.
Alright, so we got this jacked up enough that I'm laying under here like this. Probably not very safe, but we have 2 dead man jacks. Look how freaking clean under here it is. There's literally like 0 rust on the body. Exhaust is that freaking clean. There's barely any rust on the, I don't think you can see up in there. There's barely any rust on the fuel tank strap bolts. It's just so freaking clean. Like there's almost no rust.
Spare tire
awesome. Spare tire holder's the only thing that pretty much rusted away, but I'm gonna see about trying to get this thing dropped, preferably not on my head. And then we'll get back to you when we get this thing dropped and hopefully not crush me. I can't get him. Oh. Let's look around, see if there's a pipe around here. Ow! Nothing, everything wants to hurt me.
That hood looks horrible in that thing that I got.
So looking through all the junk that Ken has around here, found a piece of an exhaust. It's gonna maybe work as a breaker bar, and if not, I guess we'll be coming back with an impact another day. So, don't remember asking. Alright, I'm gonna shove my head back in here like a watermelon in a gillet guillotine and
I got it. Oh my gosh. 3/8 ratchet, boys.
Oh. Alright, so we're just gonna come back another day with an impact and proper like fuel stuff, tools, so we can actually like properly take it off or check it out. So we'll touch base with you when we come back here. Hey guys, it's been about a week. Sorry about the background traffic noise, we're literally right beside the road. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing jacked up so that we can properly get under to get the fuel tank dropped. So we'll pick up with you then when we get the back end dropped up and properly put on some jacks. All right, Jacob ran back to his house to get another tool we need because we apparently can't remember simple things when we're packing tools for stuff like this. So I'm gonna work on getting the battery installed here, the new one we picked up. I'm going to clean up these terminals a little bit more, and I think I'll probably take off the solenoid ones and try to get some of that cleaned up because the solenoid was clicking. We'll probably try replacing it first, but I'll just see if cleaning them up does anything as well. Alright, I went ahead and got the battery installed. I got these a little bit tighter, a little bit more clean. I'm probably going to end up getting new battery terminals because these are pretty rough and they're like stripping out. And I wire brushed that a little bit and got that a little bit cleaner. I'm waiting on Jacob to get back so we can get that fuel tank drop, but we're making progress.
So Ben got one bolt out for the gas tank. He's getting the second out now. So, all right, we got the tank straps down. Got the sheath at least mostly undone, if not completely taken off. Now I just gotta disconnect the fill valve, filler neck there. So, yep, I'll do that and then we'll see about maybe getting the tank down eventually.
Sorry.
This is just slightly confusing. Like, it's literally physically impossible to get the filler neck out.
It is?
Yes. They literally designed the entire thing backwards. Right after 15 years.
Oh, frick.
Oh my gosh, we had this thing open so far it like jammed itself open. Look at this!
Alright.
So, that is the goo in the tank. And that was holding this thing. This thing was literally stuck in there. And thankfully it just has a plastic screw ring on instead of a metal ring that would be rusty. But yeah, tank is completely dry except for that goo on the bottom there. Alright, so we got the old crusty pump here. Little bit nasty. And we got the new pump here. So.
Heck yeah, baby.
Yep.
Pick it up, set. Take it here. I like these a lot better. You don't have to mess with a stupid
Rusty ring. I'm actually recording this time.
Well, now comes the fun part of putting it back in.
Bottle cap. Alright, so we got the bottom half of the air box here. Not sure if it's focusing, but all this junk, we already like dumped it out. This is what's stuck in there. So we're gonna blow it out with the air compressor and scrape it out with a wire brush. But yeah, it's a little bit nasty. Yeah. I didn't know.
Nice. that'll do for now, that we can properly clean it at home. All right, we just got the, well, of course he shut it. We got the fill neck strap back in, and we got the air box cleaned out, got the new air filter in, and hooked that up, so hopefully it makes it out a little bit better. I'm gonna cross the solenoid here and again quick and see if it runs any better. I filled, where's the, whatever. The brake reservoir was empty, so I filled it to see if we can get any pressure, because we kind of need it to be able to stop, even a little bit. Moving it. Okay, he said he has pressure now, but we'll wait and see what the power brakes do. So, I guess if you're ready, I'll crank this. Okay. A little bit whinier now. Alrighty, Jacob just put it in neutral, so it's hard to hear over the motorcycles. And I was able to spin the tires, and then he pushed on the brakes some, and the rear tires stopped. I couldn't push them, so the brakes are semi-working. So he's gonna put it in drive, and we'll see if the tires will go in drive and reverse, see if they go in reverse. So I guess right now we're in neutral, right?
Yep.
So he's gonna put it in drive. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so put it, yeah, slow it down.
It's in neutral.
Okay, it's in neutral, and I'll try reverse. It's making weird clunking sounds, but it's working. Sweet. All right, Jacob's moving the Suburban, so we can go ahead and try to get this guy moved. The goal is going to be to try to pull it forward and then back it up in here, get it backed up in there, so then we can get it out of here. Guess we're going to see if this thing runs and drives well enough to drive it 10 minutes to my house from here. So guess we'll go ahead and get her started, and I'll show you guys when we start to move it. All right, Jacob's in there. He's going to try to get it moved. He's going to try to cut the tires and pull forward a bit. I'll shut the hood, but I'm not going to latch it in case I got to start you back up.
I was not expecting that to work at all. I was not expecting that to work at all.
I wonder what's rattling.
I don't really want to know at this point. Alright, here we are. We'll see how this goes. Go. Yeah, that's either transmission or power steering. I think transmission, because the power steering fluid we put in it was clear.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. Hey guys, we just got the Aerostar back here like an hour ago. It's been a series of unfortunate events all day today. That's just way too much to put into words. But we finally got it back. It's finally here. We're going to go into town tonight and pick up some spark plugs and a solenoid for it. We noticed that there was a transmission leak coming from somewhere, so that's a problem for future Ben and Jacob.
Excessive leak.
I'm just going to enjoy living in the past right now, and that'll be their problem. So, hey guys, it is the next day. I'm here by myself because Jacob's at work, and it's a little bit nice out, so I figured I could get started on at least some of what this mess is. I was able to pick up some tires yesterday. I drove 2 hours to get these. 40 bucks for 4 pretty decent tires. They should pass inspection, and they'll certainly be a lot better than the tires that are on here. So we're gonna try to get started here on getting these spark plugs out. we picked up the new spark plugs yesterday, and kind of figured as much of a pain as it was going to be to get back in there and get them spark plugs out, might as well just put the new ones in. So I think I can get to it better from down in there, reaching up in, but I'm not sure. So I'll kind of come up with a game plan as to what I want to do in terms of trying to get the spark plugs out. So I think I'm just going to try jacking up the vehicle here and giving myself a little bit more space and trying to get under there and seeing what I'm looking at. I'll try to show you guys that too. So I'll pick up once I get this jacked up a little bit and I have some space under there. Well, it sure sucks to suck, because I crawled under, and unfortunately I can't access any of the spark plugs on this side. From underneath on this side I can access one, maybe two of the rear ones, but that's it. So unfortunately, to access this side, at least make my job easier, I'm going to have to disconnect this throttle assembly bracket or whatever's going on here. And over here, I'm probably going to take off the oil fill valve going down, this bracket, get the coolant hose out of my way, get this air hose out of my way, to be able to get my hand back in there with a ratchet. So started taking some stuff off in here. I got the oil fill valve out, kind of not the way I wanted to. I obviously loosened the clamps here and took the bracket off, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a little wiggle to, you know, get the rubber coupling off. Well, I hear a ker snap, and this just comes off. Just a hole there, and I look in the hole, and there was two little pieces of plastic. I pulled the plastic out that was sitting on top of a valve cover, but it looks like somebody glued this on before, because there's, well, not mainly on here, but if you look back in there, there's like glue residue or something. So I guess maybe somebody broke this before. So I guess it's a problem for me later. But I'm gonna get these two coolant hoses off here, get them out of my way, and then I'll have room to get to that. I'm gonna shove a paper towel back in this before not a bunch of dirt down in there. So, you know, common sense. But yeah, that's the fun we're having so far. You know, I may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but something tells me that somebody cranked that a little bit too tight, being as it's crushed. So it's also pretty nasty in there. We're gonna do a coolant flush on this. I got a new thermostat housing. I'll probably get a new thermostat sensor because that's looking a little crusty. But oh boy, fun continues. Alright, finally got these two guys out of my way, so now I have room to shove my arm back in here and access those three spark plugs, so I will take them out and show you guys how those look in a second. Alright, after a lot of grunting and squeezing my arm back in there and getting covered in dirt, I got those three out and the three new ones in. These are very crusty, rusty, and disgusting, and it's probably no wonder why this thing wasn't running great. Unfortunately, that was the easier side. So I gotta do this side. I actually think I'm gonna try to get, I know I can get that first one out without having to move this. I'll see if I can get the second, but I don't know if I'm gonna get lucky enough to get the third back in there. So we'll see. I will keep you updated on how I got those out or if I get them out. So yeah. All right, so I got the first two out and replaced. I'll show you those two, and I'll show you all the three on that side when I get a chance. But the only way for me to get way back in there to get that last spark plug, I'm using a, what do we call these? Swivel socket or wobble socket with a spark plug hole. So basically what I'm doing is I'm sticking this back in here onto the spark plug. So I got that in there. The only way for me to get that out is with the wobble socket and then like 3 extensions all the way out here with a ratchet. So I actually just got it out. I actually had to add on another wobble socket. So I have my spark plug socket, 3/8 wobble socket, 3/8 to 1/2 inch to my 1/2 inch wobble socket, back to 3/8 adapter to all these. But I got it out, so we're gonna go ahead and get the new one in there here in a sec. Okay, so finally, I got all 6 spark plugs replaced. These were the other 3 that were on the driver's side. Again, very crusty, very rusty, very well worn out Motorcraft, so you know they could have been original. But they're out. So what I might do next is replace the fuel filter. Alright, so hopefully you guys can't really see my ugly face under here. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap this guy out. Unfortunately, I can't set up the camera under here because there's like zero space for you to watch me struggle to get this off. It's not gonna be too hard. Standard Ford with their clips, so plastic clips that'll probably shatter when I take them out. Pop them off, take the old one off, pop the new one in. So I'll go ahead and take care of that quick, and then I will, I guess, show you guys the new filter when it's installed. Alright, so got the new fuel filter in, wire brushed all this rust that was on the bracket and painted it, so that's bought that a little bit of time. Got the new fuel clips in, so we should be good to go providing it doesn't leak. That's all I'm going to do for today. I'm going to clean up, probably be working some other stuff when Jacob's here, or maybe I'll work on some other stuff another evening. I'll probably change the oil next, maybe tomorrow, not sure yet, but I will catch up with you guys when we get that. Hey guys, it is currently the next day. Yesterday I did the spark plugs and stuff like you guys just saw, so no Jacob today. Him and I are going to be getting together on Friday and probably working on this a little bit, and then the weekend again. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the new solenoid on here, and I'm going to drain the oil and let that kind of just drain out for a day, get all that gunk and whatever chunky crap is in there out. So aside from the solenoid and the oil, I might try to find out how to drain the coolant as well, because we're going to be putting a new thermostat in. I probably mentioned it already. But I'll probably just set the camera up and let you watch me struggle to get 2 bolts off to get a new solenoid put on. So have fun. It's always nice when the wires don't just like break or snap. Doesn't appear to be the case of any of these. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery because I don't really feel like arcing out something by accident. Solenoids were never really my expertise. I'm just good at crossing them. Alright. That's a little bit better. Alright, so for giggles, I'm going to go ahead and see if it'll crank quick. I'm not going to try to start it, obviously, but I'm just curious, because if it still clicks, then I got to look into some other stuff. So, alright, here we go. That is awesome. I am so glad it was the solenoid. Awesome. They're just so freaking chewed up, and these are stripped. This one's really chewed up, and that was stripped. But got the new solenoid in. That is fixed. That is freaking awesome. So next, I'm gonna crank the front up some and go ahead and change the oil. Well, not change it, but drain it at least. I want to get all the gunk out of it before it runs again. So I will show you guys the black tar-like substance that comes out whenever I start to drain it. Alrighty, I got the oil plug cracked open here, and you can kind of see there's already some nastiness coming out of there, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen the rest of this. Oh yeah, that is nice. That's nice. I was kind of thinking it was going to come out chunky, but well, maybe it still will. I probably shouldn't hold my breath. Hey, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and start the flushing process for the radiator. Top hose is okay then. Top hose is already disconnected. I'm going to take the thermostat and the coupling out since I have new ones coming. And I found the lower hose. is right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect him, and we'll get to watch all that fun nastiness ooze out of there. I have no idea where that pipe clamp went that just fell off. I guess I'll find that quick. So, we'll touch base when I'm getting this disconnected. Hey guys, as you can see, the GoPro decided to yet again not record audio. It is mainly just me taking the thermostat housing out here with the thermostat, as well as the temperature sensor, and as you can see from these clips, it is very crusty and disgusting. Ended up getting a new thermostat. Couldn't end up getting a new thermostat housing as they didn't sell them, and I ended up just putting the one old temperature sensor back in because I cleaned it up and it ended up looking and I think working fine. So yeah, that's what was happening here. Alright, so a few things have happened. Obviously I'd said before that the freeze plug was potentially leaking under there. It is. So it was true what Ken said about the freeze plugs leaking, which we'd kind of assumed that was correct, but we figured maybe we'd get lucky and it wouldn't be. So what Jacob and I are going to have to do is drop the transmission. So over the period of the next maybe like week, we'll be filming different times to where we're going to have to drop the exhaust, the transmission, and that's going to be fun. We do have a transmission jack, so that's nice. My dad got one in the unit. So basically what I'm going to be doing is getting things prepped, basically going to be getting the van in a little bit more accessible location, getting it up on jack stands, because we're going to have to take the drive shaft out as well. We'll try to record all that so you guys can see that going on. It's going to be our first time doing freeze plugs and dropping a transmission and a drive shaft, which I've properly looked up how to do it online, and I'll try to show you guys how we're doing it so you can kind of get an idea on how it's done. So I will pick up with you guys whenever I'm trying to probably take the exhaust off. I don't have a lot of daylight left right now, so I'm just going to get some stuff prepped and try to get the exhaust off if I have enough time. Thanks. Alright guys, so I'm now under here. Jacob's here to help me now. We're going to be working on getting the exhaust off first, so I'm going to be taking it off up in here, up here, and right here, and then taking the one hanger off. So we're going to go ahead and get that down, and then we're going to assess how we're going to be dropping the drive shaft, and then we'll show you guys how we're going to do that.
Alright, so we got all the rusted fast, like, studs broken off up there. So, yeah, the front of the exhaust is loose, and then back here, the flex pipe was already, like, torn. So the flex pipe torn, we said screw it, so we just cut it off with the flex pipe because we couldn't, we took like the bolts out here, but we couldn't, it wouldn't come apart, so we just cut it with the flex pipe. So
next we gotta drop this arm transmission brace so that we can get this out, and then we'll actually have access to stuff. Alright guys, so we did get those two bolts out, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop the drive shaft before we get going up there because of the transmission having to come down. So what I'm going to be doing here is there's 4 bolts back here on the end of the drive shaft. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So what I'm going to be doing is marking where, oops, I need a rag. We're going to be marking where the drive shaft is sitting. So basically line up this, from what I'm aware of, I guess just pick a spot and kind of mark where everything lines up. I'm not sure where it's going to disconnect back here because this is the first time I'm doing this. So I'm just going to mark all this. That way we have our mark straight back so you know where it was sitting. And then the front is a slip yoke transmission, so when we disconnect it back here, this will drop and we're able to just pull it and pop it out of there.
Ben is taking the last bolt out here for the drive shaft. Can't really see what's going on under here. Not making sense to me, but okay.
Alright, so now the bolts are out, I should be able to jar this loose.
Violence!
Sledge might just need to give it a little ugga bugga.
Oh, I see how it's going. Okay.
Is it coming apart? Looks like it is.
I can't tell. Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap there now. Yeah.
There we go. Oh, okay. It's super light because it's aluminum. Alright, so up here in the transmission, got this down.
Up there.
Yep, look. See, it's sliding right out. So all I gotta do is, oop, that's it.
Kind of.
This literally weighs like 15 pounds. That's ridiculous. Yeah. So that's out. Same thing. Should be the same with the steel one, except those are heavier. Don't crush your head in. Have a dead man jack set up like I did, or strap it up with a bungee. So next we'll focus on getting that transmission jack or structural brace out. So yay. So because we're retarded and professionals, we have our transmission jack with a cinder block or the transmission up. We're able to get this lower support bracket out. So now we're gonna be, whoops, sorry. Now we're gonna be going up in here, taking out all the bolts, holding the transmission to the bell housing, and
figuring out how to disconnect the shift.
And then we gotta figure out how to disconnect the shift linkage over here, which is gonna be fun. So yeah, we'll keep you guys updated.
All right, so after some work, finally got to this, a lot of pain to get these two transmission transpo lines off. Okay, then he got the shift linkage off, and we got to get a couple more of these things off, like the dipstick tube and whatever this is. All right, so we finally got these top two bolts or studs out of top side of the transmission. Everything down below is disconnected as far as we can tell. So I guess we're ready to drop it. We'll see how that goes.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try to see if, I'm gonna give this a few pumps here quick and see if it'll pop free up here. Am I seeing, is there a bolt here? What is that?
There's a bolt there.
Okay, we missed a bolt and we missed a bolt right there. All right, so we'll go ahead and get those.
All right, so we got two more bolts out, and two more bolts out, and now we're going to try to separate the engine and transmission. However, we managed to do that. Dang this! Oh no! Oh. Jack it up a bit. It needs to come back further my way. Okay. Oh, okay. Is it clear to drop it?
Free.
There wasn't much transmission fluid left after it dumped most of it for some reason.
Alright, we're gonna get this drug outside and then see what we're working with here. Alright, hopefully you guys can see. So you can see up in here now we've got freeze plug number 1 and what looks like maybe was replaced before. Other freeze plug. Jacob's gonna pour water in there. Where's the flashlight? That would be very handy. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and change the right one and the left one because I don't know which one's leaking. I'm not sure what that center thing is. Maybe that is another type of expansion plug, but yeah. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's literally a hole straight through the freeze plug, literally right there. So man, I wonder why that was leaking. The other one, I guess someone else replaced, but we're just gonna replace them both because we know both those are done. So basically what I'm going to attempt to do is take a screwdriver and get it on the upper lip here, and you're supposed to tap in with a hammer in like this to get the freeze plug to pivot inward, so that then you can grab it with a pair of pliers and pull it out. So it's what I'm going to be trying to do here. It's just going to take me a while, so I'll touch base with you when I make some progress.
Okay, struggling here. Oh yeah, so here's, let me get some light here. Here's our freeze plug. Can't really see what's going on here. Oh yeah. Looking real nice.
Alright guys, so we got this one out and this one out. There's some nasty sludge back in there. I kind of scooped out with my finger. There's still some more, but since we got the transmission out and we're already this far, we're going to go ahead and replace the freeze plug that's here and the freeze plug that's up here. This left one's really bad. This one looks like it was replaced at some point, but we might as well just replace it and get them all four done. So I'm going to knock those two out, and then we're probably going to have to go get parts. So I'll update you guys then. Alright guys, hopefully you can see. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 freeze plugs out. I'm going to go ahead and take some fine sandpaper and just run it on the inside lip of these to get any burrs off or any rust that doesn't want to let it seal correctly. and then I'll be wiping it out with a rag, and then I'll show you guys the process of me putting the freeze plug, or at least 2 of the freeze plugs for now in, because we have to go order the other 2. Alright, so yeah, we got the flywheel off. Now we have better access to these freeze plug holes. So what I'm going to do here is you're going to get a socket that's just under the size of your freeze plug hole, so it fits in like so. And then you're going to be tapping it back into the hole up here, where you can't see. Up here, we're going to be tapping into the hole until we get it flush on the outside, and you want to be careful you don't send it into the engine block, otherwise you'll have fun fishing it out. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Hey guys, it's been a few days. We did take the transmission and we got the new rear output shaft seal replaced. I had a friend of mine show me how to do that, and we had the front pump seal replaced, which is back in there behind the torque converter. So that's done. I'll show you what I did under here with the freeze plugs quick. Alright guys, so what I ended up doing, we accidentally got the wrong size freeze plugs, and whenever we put in the water, the one bottom one was leaking because they were the wrong size. Went ahead and got the proper sizes. I went ahead and just put sealant on all 4 anyways, just for peace of mind. Then I don't really have to deal with, one of them leaking if we put the transmission back up, because it was a fair amount of work to get this thing dropped. So what we're going to do next is we're going to try to get the transmission back in today. So we're going to see how that goes. I did get that broken off oil fill valve thing glued back on, snapped back in where it was supposed to be. So that's good. Jacob should be here shortly, so we will get started on that, and I guess set that up whenever we're getting ready. Hey guys, we just got the transmission sort of up and in last night. It got dark and the camera died, so that's why that happened. We're going to finish putting in some of the fastener bolts and hook the trans-cool lines back up, all that fun boring stuff, and then we'll touch base with you guys when we're ready to put the differential back in. Okay, you're good.
Alright, hi there. We're having fun. This is fun. Have the drive shaft here, and we're going to be putting it into the slip yoke end of the transmission here, at least.
I will help hold this end.
Yeah. So we greased up the end there. Or at least we think that's correct. We don't know what we're doing.
Like to think we do. Oh, there we go.
All right.
So now down here.
Looks like
it's exactly where the mark is. Okay. So hold on. Hold that. Can you hold it there for a second? Yep. Alright, so guys, so down here I have my old marks I made where it was lined up, and it's actually perfectly where it was, so we don't have to move it. So we're going to go ahead and put these bolts back in and torque them down to spec, and then we'll have the drive shaft back in, and then we'll touch base with you when we're going to get, I guess, ready to fire this thing up for the first time in a few weeks. Alright, so we are currently putting water in the radiator for the system, so we're not running it without some sort of cooling property. We already kind of flushed out the water pump a little. It was pretty chunky and nasty. We got everything in here hooked back up. We did notice an oil leak coming from what we thought is the valve cover, so we'll look into that later. But nothing's leaking from the transmission or the freeze plugs or anything so far. We only put half the trans fluid in now because we have to start it for a short amount of time to have the pump work the fluid through up to the torque converter and everywhere else, and shut it back off and put the rest in. So we're going to finish filling this, and then we'll get back to you guys when we're going to be starting this for the first time in like 2 weeks. Alright guys, we're going to get ready to start this here. Jacob's going to prime the fuel like, what, 2 times before he starts it, because I'm sure it's all drained out by now, and I replaced the fuel filter. So I guess go ahead and prime it twice, and then we'll see if it starts. Okay. Alright, we're gonna let it run about 30 seconds and then we're gonna shut it off. It's a little loud because there's no exhaust right now. So we're gonna let that run 30 seconds and then top the trans fluid off.
Alright, so we were able to have it running for a couple minutes. We put, most of the transmission fluid in so it could work some into the system. We put it in reverse and drive, and it felt like it went into both those just fine. So we're gonna put the last quart or so of transmission fluid in, and then we should be good with that. We have seen absolutely no leaks from the transmission, although we are leaking from the corner of the radiator here, so that's fun. We're gonna have to get another new radiator. Where also the water pump is leaking, so we're gonna be getting a new water pump for it. So that'll be next week's problem, I guess. So that'll be fun.
Hey guys, today is probably one of the last warm days we're gonna have for a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out the fan, the water pump, the radiator, and maybe the valve cover if I have time. It's kind of hard to film in here without having another person. Even if I stood it up over here and I'm slumped over here, there's not really anything entertaining going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this and this stuff out. I'll touch base with you when I get the old radiator. I'll show you where it was leaking. I'll show you what the water pump looks like down there and stuff, and so I will touch base with you then. Hey guys, just want to show you I got the radiator out. So this is kind of what it looks like from the back. A lot of nasty stuff there. It was starting to kind of get a little corroded in the front, but it was leaking from this top corner here. There's a crack right there on the inside that it was leaking. And I got the, obviously the fan guard out in the fan. The fan we are going to replace because it is cracked on every blade. So for some peace of mind, I'm gonna spend 20 bucks and replace that. And now I got all this room. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the serpentine belt off and take the water pump off. So, yay. Just a guess, but something tells me that maybe this water pump wasn't exactly running up to its standards. 2 bolts ended up breaking off in the engine block, so that's cool. Oh yeah, gotta chisel all that out. I'm excited for that, but this bolt broke off and this one back in there. So this one I can easily get. The other one we'll see. So, oh boy. All right, well I got the valve cover off. Yeah, we can obviously see where we were leaking oil because there's literally just a chunk of the seal missing. And I looked and it's literally not like when I took the valve cover off that it tore and it was still there. It's just gone. So there's literally just a chunk of the valve cover seal missing, so that's cool. Hey guys, today I am going to go ahead and start working on getting the timing cover off. I'm gonna have to be taking off this bracket in here, which is attached to the air conditioner compressor, and then this idler pulley, as well as the crankshaft pulley I'll have to pull off. Then I'll actually have access to the timing cover so that I can pop that off. I think the oil pan bolts into it, so I might have to take the oil pan off, we'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these guys out of here and then we'll touch base then. Okay, we got an update here. So I was able to get that bracket off. Unfortunately, I had to take off the AC compressor to get that bracket off, which was going through the timing cover. I got off another 10mm bolt that was down here, got off a bunch of weird bolts over there, took out the 2 oil pan bolts on the front, on the bottom. So now I'm gonna start tapping on it to see if I can get it to come free. I just want to show what I'm doing here. I'm able to get a pry bar up in here between kind of under the thermostat and on the top of the timing cover, and if I pry I can get the whole thing to kind of come loose like that. So it's working it. Alright, so we got the timing cover off, we got that popped off. Right here is the bolt that broke off, so we have tons of access to that. Awesome. I will try it with a pair of vice grips first. And in the timing cover itself is the other broke off one. I can probably stick in a vise and get out. But I'm gonna really clean this thing up good. It could use some love. Obviously the oil pan's right there, so I don't exactly want to knock any dirt down in there. So I'll probably pack some paper towels in there and then work on scraping all this old gasket off up here that's basically just deteriorating. Oh my god, look how nasty that is in there. Oh god. Well, that's why we're gonna do a flush on this thing. And just like that, guys, pair of vice grips on here, tapped it with a hammer a bit, and she's coming right out. I'm so glad we didn't have to weld a nut on this thing. And this is the sole reason why I had to take the timing cover off, just because of this stupid thing. So now I gotta get the other one out of here. So I'll try to get that out quick with the vise and I'll let you know how I make out. All right, just wanna show you guys how I got this free. I stuck the broken off stud that was still in the water pump in the vise, heated it up with the blowtorch a little bit, and then I started working it up, and see, now it's coming out. So we're good on that one as well.
Alright, so Ben got the timing cover off here. So I'm going to have the fun job of crawling up through there and chipping off and scrubbing off all the remaining gasket material. Alright, so we got the gasket surfaces mostly cleaned off at this point. So here we are, we got the timing cover here. We put some degreaser cleaner on here. I'm going to scrub this down good. It's a little nasty. It's not supposed to be black. It's originally silver. New water pump. So we're setting up all of our stuff here on the table, and then we need to do everything right whenever we're putting the gasket stuff back on. So we're gonna have all of our stuff here so it's accessible whenever we go to reinstall it. We'll try to show you guys as much as we can as far as the reinstall process. Alright, so got the timing cover here. It is so much cleaner than it was. Turns out there's a Ford logo here with a bunch of serial numbers that was very much invisible before, how much junk was covering it. This is getting really thin up in here, so we're putting some high temp. It was
cracked gasket and chipped out, so we're just putting that there as a band-aid.
Yeah, basically just hoping that helps a little bit, but it was pretty bad. But even here and stuff, it's still not great there. But yeah, everything's getting gasket sealer, just to help fill in any gaps. So yeah, this is a heck of a lot cleaner than it was. So we're gonna start putting gasket sealer on stuff and getting things put back together, and put a new seal thingy here where it goes. Alright, so we set the cover down here and then set our new seal thing right in the hole where it goes. Took a piece of wood, laid it right on top, and then just tap it in, and it went right in where it's supposed to be. So yep, worked very well. Alright, so here's the new seal for the timing cover. We put gasket sealer on it, that's why it's
it did one side that we're going to put onto the engine, then we're going to put some on the water pump next since that's all chewed up, but this is just for peace of mind. It's kind of just really up to your own opinion if you want to put gasket sealer on or not, so we like to.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, just in case there's any flaws in the metal or whatever, that way that gives us a little more flexibility with
but I'm going to
the
go
gasket.
ahead and stick this straight on. There's two studs down here that line up with the gasket, so that makes it a little bit easier. So the first one on there. There's that one. There's that one. Just gonna stick it on here and then line up the holes, which is gonna be fun.
Kind of to get it up and around.
I think we put it on backwards. Alright, so we went ahead and got that on the correct way this time. So we got gasket sealer behind there. We got gasket on this side. Gasket sealer on this side. He put some down here because we're lazy and want to see if we can get away with not changing out the oil pan seal. So that'll be fun to get that back in with the spongy and as much as it moves.
The book said to cut the seal there, take that part of the seal off, and then cut part of a new seal and fit it in there with gasket maker. It seems like the sketchiest thing possible. But that's what the repair book said to do.
We're not going to do that. So we're going to go ahead and get the timing cover on here. Basically, it's pretty simple. Basically, just going to take it, stick it down in, line it up with the 2 studs down here, and pop it straight on, while also trying to keep the bottom seal pulled out so it doesn't push it in. And then we'll start putting some bolts in, so we'll touch base with you when we get this kind of pancaked on there.
Alright, timing cover is in place. We got the 2 oil pan bolts put through into the timing cover. We got these 2 studs put in with sealer because they go into, I guess, the cavities where the water or coolant is on the engine, so we had to put sealer there so it doesn't leak.
Alright guys, so we went ahead and got gasket sealer on the opposite side of the gasket for the water pump, and we have that sitting here now. And we went ahead and just put gasket sealer on the mating surface on the timing cover in here. So we're going to go ahead and stick like 2 bolts through and line them up with 2 of the holes in here just to get them started to keep our water pump kind of centered where it needs to be before we slide it back on. And we're going to be putting anti-seize on all these bolts because they were really bad, and obviously 2 of them broke when I went to take them out. I don't want that to happen again for a future person because I'm not a sadist. So we're going to go ahead and get that pancaked on, a few bolts in, then we'll touch base.
Alright, water pump is back on, timing cover, so all that is hooked up. Now we're going to work on getting the AC compressor and the alternator and all that random crap hooked back up in here. So that's what's next. Alright, so got one of the belts in. Can't put the alternator in and the other belt on until we put the valve cover on. So valve cover's next. Looks like fun. So yep, we're going to get the valve cover on next, and then we can put the other belt on. Yeah, the tensioner pulley, the crankshaft pulley are both on now, so yeah. Alright, so alternator's back in, valve cover is on. Guess we got that done first. So, valve cover, alternator, all the brackets, both belts are on. Now it's time to get the fan and the radiator back in. Alright, so new radiator here. Pretty well set up, and is currently getting the transcool connectors set up for it from the original, since they didn't give us any new ones. They also didn't come with a radiator cap. It's interesting, but oh well. Glad the old one was okay. But we'll get those in, and then we will get it installed. Yay! Alright guys, so Ben stepped away for a minute, so it's just me here now. We got the new radiator. This is an old radiator cover insulator thing. That's why it looks all old and kind of nasty. But new radiator, new fan blade down in there somewhere. There it is. New fan. We reused the old fan clutch. It was fine. But new fan, new radiator. We put the cover back on. Got the coolant hoses hooked up. Pretty much almost everything is hooked back up. We're going to test it here in a little while. But there's one thing that confuses me here with the oil. So, like we'd said before, whenever we put oil in it, oil was just pouring out of the valve cover, which is why we replaced the valve cover gasket, because they had a giant chunk out of it and it was just pouring oil out. So we lost a good amount of oil, right, whenever we filled it. I just checked the oil, but it showed up just a hair over full, which doesn't make any sense. So either there's oil over all the little weird things in there that's making it show up weird on the stick, which is very possible, or the oil's already full. So I don't really want to dump the extra quart of oil over there I have into it if I don't know it needs it.
Alright, so Jacob, while I was gone, went ahead and got water in the radiator, and we checked the oil and got all the rest of this stuff together. We're at a point now where we're going to start it for the first time after doing the timing cover and the water pump and everything. Got to work some of this water through it quick, and then we're going to have to keep filling it, and then we're going to have to keep flushing the system because of all the old crap that's in everywhere. So he's going to go ahead and get in and start it for you guys, and we'll see if anything leaks. Hopefully not, because this has been a lot of work. So, all right. Seems like it's running pretty good. We're gonna keep an eye on it for a little bit and keep you updated.
Looks good to me. No, that's just the bottom radiator hose, thankfully. Yeah, we were running it, seeing if the thermostat would open, which it's not. It's also leaking from the thermostat housing, which is fun. At least it's not the water pump. So yeah, it's leaking coolant from the thermostat housing, but the it got warm, like quite warm, when we were running it, and then the bottom radiator hose went kapoof, and you know, blew off the from the bottom of the radiator. So yeah, it was a little spicy. Alright, so we fixed the thermostat housing leak, put a new gasket in there that fixed it. It's not leaking anymore. Then put the air box back on and the air intake. We did have the filter in earlier, and it's running quite horribly now, like way worse. So we're not quite sure what that's about. It was running significantly better. I mean, it was still trying to stall after a couple seconds of running, but it was actually running pretty smooth. Now it's just horrible and super choppy. So Ben disconnected the battery just now. We're gonna see if we can reset the computer, because we did read about these that you can disconnect the battery and that'll reset the computer, and then it will have to like relearn its idle. So we're gonna see if that makes any difference. Alright, if you can hear me, this thing's loud. So I think we definitely found the problem. So the air box and everything, whenever we had it hooked up, it was running horribly, right? So we disconnected it and it went back to running pretty good, and then, you know, stalling after, you know, 15-20 seconds of not touching the throttle. Well, we're like, okay, so it has to be something that we're hooking up here on the air intake system. We removed the filter, we changed a whole bunch of other things, didn't make a difference. We saw the airflow sensor, mass airflow sensor, whatever, and so it was running terribly. I was barely able to keep it running, and Ben came over here, and it's that one right there. Ben came over and disconnected it, and it went from like freaking 3-cylinder misfire to running like a dream. And then with everything hooked up and with the sensor disconnected, it's now running on its own, which it hasn't done since we got the thing. So that's freaking awesome. It's running on its own without us having to give it throttle or anything, with the airbox hooked up and with the sensor disconnected. What sucks is the sensors are like at least 35 bucks. So like 50 bucks for the sensor. Why though? Anywho, it ran longer. Alright, we got it down off the ramps and back down on the ground, so Ben's gonna go on and try to get it up to the house. It's not liking being in gear right now, so who knows, maybe a mass airflow sensor or something could have to do with that, so I think we're good. but let's see if we can get it up. It's a little bit loud without an exhaust. Also, that rear passenger wheel is not made for that vehicle. We just threw it on because the lug pattern was close enough. All right, so we made it up to the house here, and yeah, we're going to flush the cooling system again, because every time we flushed it so far, which has been twice now, at least, I think it's twice, it's been chunky and brown water that's come out. So we're gonna flush it another time or so, try to get that cooling system a little bit cleaner, and then we're going to power wash it. And as you can tell, the clear coat is like non-existent, but we're gonna power wash it, get all this nasty crap off, and then yeah, then I guess it's brakes and power steering lines, mass airflow sensor, and then see what it needs so that it actually, you know, drives under its own power and acts like it wants to live.
Power wash it.
Just showing how dirty it is. I mean, you can see the loss on the front, on the bumper, up here. We're gonna try to stay away from the window seals, but sides aren't too bad. A little bit of moss on the bottom of the door. Bumper's filthy. That is special. Yeah, she's a little dirty. So then we'll show us power washing it, and then some aftershot.
Hey guys, it is cold and windy today. We did get the new mass airflow sensor in, so we're going to get that guy swapped out. I'm going to be taking out these 4 little 10mm, looks like 10mm nuts, holding it onto the air box, and then we'll swap that out quick, and then we're going to see if it makes a difference with the idle. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery again to reset the computer again. That way it kind of relearns the idle with its new sensor. I hope it fixes it. I really hope it does, but we'll find out. Alrighty, just got the new mass airflow sensor on, and I hooked the battery back up. That was disconnected for like 10 minutes, so I hope this should have enough to drain the system. So we're gonna go ahead and start it and see if anything seems different with the idle. So we'll get in here. It's gonna be very loud, so I will fix that. Okay. So obviously a really high idle like it was doing before, but we're gonna see. Okay, I'm gonna keep it running a little bit with my foot, get it to learn the idle or whatever, we'll touch base then. Alright, so good news, it is idling on its own now. I do not have my foot on the gas. So I think the mass airflow sensor was our problem. We should be good to go in terms of this thing running and driving. I will get back to you guys here in a sec. Hey guys, currently as it stands, the van's running okay, not great. We still have a few things to work out bug-wise. We still have to do brakes and tires and a couple other cosmetic things before it'll be ready for inspection. We didn't want to drag the video out too long, but obviously it's running and driving now, so it's out of the graveyard that it was once sitting in. So we're going to sell this because it doesn't make sense for us to keep it because we already have too many vehicles, as you've probably seen. So we're going to try to get this thing finished here in the next month and sold, and then work on another one of the projects sitting in the junkyard. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like the channel, be sure to subscribe and like and comment. It helps us a lot. We're trying to get monetized so that maybe we can make something back on things like this. So take care.